a lot of the work that Bob Iger's been doing seems to be in line with where activist investors have wanted. What, 8,000 jobs eliminated, $7.5 billion of costs removed. What more could investors want right now?
Yeah, I mean, he has done a lot of the things, obviously, that the activist investors have wanted. And you're absolutely right in terms of cost cuts, in terms of right-sizing content expenses. They've brought down content expenses from about $30 billion to $27 billion to now $25 billion. And I think the biggest takeaway, Caroline, from the latest earnings call was that they're getting their free cash flow back to pre-pandemic levels. So free cash flow for 2024 expected to be $8 billion. They're also restoring the dividend. So there's obviously a lot that they're doing. But I think there is still some frustration with Disney's management, because we do know that Bob Iger last year had spoken about how the linear TV assets are in secular decline, and he had kind of spoken about how the future for those are very bleak, but we've not really seen any concrete action from him in terms of what he's going to do with those assets. And I think that's leading to a little bit of frustration. Plus, of course, you have the studio. We've had a whole string of misfires, whether it's the latest Marvel's movie, just not kind of living up to what we expect from Disney. And so they obviously have to do a lot of work on that front as well. But we have to remember, I mean, these things are going to change takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. But you're absolutely right. Bob Iger is definitely, I think, the right person to do it. There's a lot of confidence. But again, it is going to take a while.
Blackwell's saying exactly that in a statement. As a statement, shareholders deserve the opportunity to continue to really support Disney's turnaround and transformation under Bob Iger. Meanwhile, though, Nelson Peltz says one of the issues he has is compensation misalignment, governance and succession, which he says have been issues that have plagued the company for decades. What more could be done on those three, do you think?
Yeah, I think, succession obviously has been this constant pain point for Bob Iger. But, he's brought in, the CFO was a lingering issue. They obviously have Hugh Johnston now in. And they have a whole slew of board members that they just actually brought to the board. I mean, Lucas just pointed out Jeremy Darroch from Sky, who has a very rich experience in terms of content distribution, content creation. And then, of course, you have James Gorman, who's a real heavyweight. So they obviously can get a lot of perspective there. I think they have all of the things in place. We have to really see what they do in terms of strategic direction for a few of their assets, especially ESPN, and then the outstanding ownership issue with Hulu.
Geetha, this is the value act thesis on Disney. They basically state Disney's the world's leading entertainment company. They talk about the IP, they talk about the parks business, and they say in the statement this morning, as legacy technologies transition to digital platforms, we believe Disney can lead the media industry forward. Does Bloomberg Intelligence share value act's thesis around Disney?
Absolutely. Disney has the best in-class brands. There is no doubt about that. Yes, we have seen a little bit of underperformance, as I just spoke about in terms of the studio side, but they absolutely have all of the levers in place. I mean, you look at the media assets, they have fantastic properties, whether it's Marvel, whether it's Pixar, whether it's Star Wars. They have all of the franchises that people love. And then, of course, you have the parks business, which has been performing extremely well. I just don't think they're getting enough credit for it.
So the question is what happens next, right? Blackwell's has some different board proposals. Value Act is backing Disney's proposals for the board. There will be a shareholder meeting. If you sort of game planned and modeled the scenario where Nelson Peltz is appeased, I think we said that all year last year, didn't we, Caroline? Appeasing Peltz, does he get appeased based on the reporting you've read this morning?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think he's going to fight really hard. I mean, this is going to be a really contentious fight, I think, between Peltz and Disney. He obviously does definitely want to put himself on the board. He definitely wants to see Jay Rizzullo on the board. I don't think Disney kind of needs that distraction right now. It really is going to come down to what I think Bob Iger, he's obviously been shoring up his defenses with the Value Act news, with the Blackwell's news. It's going to come down to, if he can announce something, if there are any near-term catalysts in terms of strategic initiatives that can kind of really appease Nelson Peltz, whether they can come up with something on the linear TV side, in terms of plans for those linear TV assets, or if there is some kind of announcement with respect to ESPN. We know that they've been kind of searching for that strategic partner. One of the big digital players, or maybe even the leagues themselves.
Right.
Those talks have really not gone anywhere. So again, if anything comes up on that front, I think it really does kind of reinvigorate the stock price a little bit.